not on a bumpy path, but just a little differently than I expected at some points with building this brand and having Kontraxion come from in my head to out into the world. But it's always humbling to get support from strangers that don't know you, don't have any vested interest, and they feel, you know, what you're doing and like want to support and want to help you push further. So that's always like super humbling. But on the flip side of that, I always try to keep pushing things forward and keep a little bit of taste with it, so it's not generic or it's not bland when it's coming across in some of the representation, whether it's photos that I've done or video. Try to always keep things a little bit more than just a post, you know. Have something in it that appeals, that would get somebody to stop and say, hey, you know, I like that. But from the beginning, like the first shirt, it had "We Don't Punt" on it, so it was yellow ink, kind of bold font, and super simple. You know, it never was. It never was meant to be anything like extravagant and flashy, but everybody liked it. Everybody wanted to grab one, and just that little light bulb goes off. You know, like, okay, I can create something, and something that's in here can go out in the world, and you know, people would like it. You know, people would want to represent it and, you know, figure it out, kind of thing. And moving on from that print, doing the strongman print, which is, it's like a circular logo that had a guy with a barbell on his back, a bunch of plates, and they just had KX. So that was exciting because, okay, that's something, and print that and get that out there. And the next question that came up is, well, what is KX? So it's like, well, crap, you know, Kontraxion spelled KON versus the normal Kontraxion. So then it came into a point of having to always explain what KX stood for, what KX meant, you know. So then moving from that logo, it was like, okay, well, let's spell it out and, you know, have the full KONTRAXION. That way you can see it. So after that point, the question that came to be was, okay, how do you pronounce it? You know, how do you say that? So it's just been funny, like the things that you take for granted as like people will understand maybe, but they don't. Even though they do like it, they may not fully understand it, or they may have a question about it. That was kind of cool in the beginning to kind of to work with and navigate. And you know, as things have matured, gone forward, putting that on different pieces of clothing it was a goal, it was a thing, but I've matured more into the area now of I want to really just have some select pieces, and then from those select pieces have the athlete, the ambassador, the person, you know, represent that versus a whole slew of, you know, 45 different shades of the same tank, racerback, shorts, leggings, whatever. You know, try to narrow it down to just a couple pieces here and there, do the shoots, do the video, and really really highlight these athletes that are out there. So with all the unknown athletes that are out there, people doing CrossFit, powerlifting, NPC, IFBB stuff, there's just a ton, like a plethora of athletes that are doing stuff, and people, not even necessarily all the way to athlete, but just everyday people who are like pushing, moving, you know what I mean? Like they're motivated, and that's something where I feel like I've tapped into that as an overall umbrella, really start to show all this talent that's out there in whatever way I can reach, or you know, sometimes I get reached out to. It's not always me reaching out, so that's kind of cool too, but that's another story. But I just want to give an update and kind of, you know, talk about where I'm at, and I know I never really addressed the fact of where things came from, so I hope you kind of get a feel for that. But the first couple prints were simple, and the design and the logos now are still simple. They're not super fancy. I like stuff to be clean and just, you know, representative, where it's eye-catching, but not gaudy or anything like that. But I feel like the athletes and people involved with the brand so far are dedicated in their own way, as I'm dedicated to building the brand and building the image and getting this thing further out there than just my head. So I hope that makes sense. I'm trying to not be too wordy about it, and I feel like the future, meaning for me right now, the next 6 to 12 months, it's going to be a little bit of a change from what I've been doing, and a change being a little bit better quality on the production side, better quality with the pieces and how they're designed, but also the energy is going to go up one more notch. And the only way I can explain that is just you're gonna follow the IG, the KX, the Facebook, or you just have to follow the social media behind everything, so you can see it, hear it, and just get a feel for it yourself. But yeah, that's about all I got. I'm gonna get this sushi order in and enjoy the rest of this evening.